Leviticus. Chapter 15. Physical impurities. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, any man who has a discharge from his body is unclean. And this is his uncleanness in his discharge. Whether his body runs with his discharge or his body has stopped discharging, it is his uncleanness. Every bed on which the one with the discharge lies will be unclean, and everything on which he sits will be unclean. Anyone who touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe in water, and he shall be unclean until evening. And anyone who sits on anything on which the man with the discharge has sat shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Whoever touches the body of the man with the discharge shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. If the man with the discharge spits on someone who is clean, then he shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Any saddle on which the man with the discharge rides will be unclean. Whoever touches anything that was under him shall be unclean until evening, and whoever carries any of those things shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. If the man with the discharge touches someone without first washing his hands with water, that person shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Any earthen vessel that the man with the discharge touches shall be broken, and every wooden vessel shall be rinsed in water. When the man with the discharge is cleansed of his discharge, he shall count 7 days for his cleansing, wash his clothes, and bathe his body in running water. Then he shall be clean. On the 8th day, he shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons and come before the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting and give them to the priest. The priest shall offer one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering. Thus, the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord because of his discharge. If a man has an emission of semen, he shall bathe his whole body in water and be unclean until evening. Any garment or leather on which the semen falls shall be washed with water and be unclean until evening. If a man lies with a woman and has an emission of semen, both shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. If a woman has a discharge and the discharge from her body is blood, she shall be in her impurity for 7 days, and whoever touches her shall be unclean until evening. Everything on which she lies during her impurity shall be unclean. Also, everything on which she sits shall be unclean. Anyone who touches her bed shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Anyone who touches any item on which she has sat shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Whoever touches anything on the bed or on the seat on which she sat shall be unclean until evening. If a man lies with her and her impurity is upon him, he shall be unclean for 7 days, and every bed on which he lies shall be unclean. If a woman has a discharge of blood for many days, other than at the time of her menstrual impurity, or if she has a discharge beyond the time of her impurity, all the days of her discharge she shall be as unclean as during the time of her impurity. Every bed on which she lies during all the days of her discharge shall be to her like the bed of her impurity, and everything on which she sits shall be unclean, as in her menstrual impurity. Whoever touches those things shall be unclean. He shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. When she is cleansed from her discharge, she shall count 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. On the 8th day, she shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons and bring them to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest shall offer one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, and the priest shall make atonement for her before the Lord because of her unclean discharge. Thus you shall separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, lest they die in their uncleanness by defiling my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law for one who has a discharge, and for him who has an emission of semen, making him unclean thereby, and for her who is in her menstrual impurity, and for one who has a discharge, whether male or female, and for a man who lies with an unclean woman. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Give it a like, comment your thoughts, and share this video with your friends and family.